Thursday.
I
Thursday,
saw
good.
that.
Good evening, everyone. This is a combined meeting of Monday, November 14, 2022. This meeting begins at 7 p.m. Can we all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Brescher.
Here.
Councilmember Coyle.
Here.
Councilmember Harris. Here. Councilmember Patel.
Here.
Councilmember Patil.
Here.
Councilmember Pointer. Councilmembership Freeman.
Here.
We can just take a moment, council members, have a moment of silence for the passing of retired Lieutenant Anthony White. Thank you. Madam Clerk, adequate notice?
Adequate notice of this meeting as required by the Open Public Meeting Act of 1975 has been provided by an annual notice sent to the Home News Tribune, Star Ledger Sentinel, and Dizzy Talk on November 25th, 2021, and posted Main Lobby Municipal Complex on that same date.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Council members, review of the minutes for combined meeting October 26th. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, moving forward to report all council committees. I'll go from my left, Council Member Patil.
None at this time.
Councilmember Patel.
None at this time.
Councilmember Brescher.
Not at this time.
Councilmember Margot Harris.
None at this time?
And I have none at this time as well. We did discuss DPW at the last meeting with Councilmember Patil. Moving forward to points of light. Any points of light from council members? I'm sorry.
Are you talking about
Council-
points of light?
I'm sorry, Council Vice President,
All right.
any committee discussions?
No, but I have a point of light. On December 10th at Thomas Jefferson School, there will be a pre-Kwanzaa celebration from 12 to 6 o'clock at Thomas Jefferson High School.
Any other members or points of light? Hearing none, moving forward to the business administrator. Item number 7, A, B, C, D, and F. Any questions or comments from council members?
Council President.
Yes, Councilmember Brescher, you have the floor.
I have a couple questions. I'll start from the bottom, F. The medical services for Hackensack Meridian, is that for the ambulance?
No, that's not. This is all for all pre-employment verifications that we do for our township employees, including fit for duty.
Is that the same amount that we had last year? I don't recall it, that's why. And so I thought it was for the ambulance service.
I can follow up with last year's pricing.
All right. The other one I had was the ice rink. This is for the Christmas, I'm going to call it, I'd like to say spectacular, to be honest with you, but is that for this holiday season?
It's for the Winter Wonderland.
Okay. Winter Wonderland, I like that, yes. And the bond ordinance, and we talked briefly about that. So we approved a bond, correct? And this would be the approval for the appropriations portion of that bond that you're looking for now?
Yes, the second portion of that.
Okay, thank you, that's it.
Council President,
Yes, Council Vice President, you have the floor.
on the ice skating, the synthetic ice rink, will we keep that throughout the winter?
The entire event is for 3 weekends, so it's assembling and disassembling it every time.
Because I thought we'd get more use out of the skating rink at least. No?
That may be wonderful, but we obviously would need to staff it the entire time.
All right, thank you.
Is it 3 weeks or 3 weekends?
And 3 weekends.
Okay, any other questions or comments?
Council President.
Yes, Councilmember Patil?
Question to administrator on A, where Council President. This board ordinance, I agree with my council colleague. We approved quite a few bonds here, and I heard that this is the appropriations. Appropriation normally comes once the amount is spent. This is something we are asking approval to borrow the money and then use it and then it'll come for the appropriation, or this is direct coming as an appropriation?
We're on the bond already?
Yes.
Councilman, this ordinance will allow us to spend the money and then give us the opportunity and flexibility in the future to borrow the money to fund it. But for now, this is the authorization to spend for road resurfacing, various improvements for the senior center, and so forth.
Correct. That's what my understanding was, but just want to make sure that my council colleague understand this is not the appropriation, but this is this council authorizing to use this money to spend for the upcoming capital improvement projects.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. F, on the medical services to Hackensack, is this up to 150,000 or this is a blanket amount? Because again, the reason I'm asking is we are in the month of November.
This one?
It's a not-to-exceed number for a year, I believe.
And what's the year starts? Because,
I want to have the administrator confirm the term of it.
thank you, Attorney. So two questions there, what is the start date and end date, and is this not to exceed? The reason saying we are in the middle of November 2022.
Okay, so the contract is for 1 year,
Effective from,
and it's not to exceed 150,000.
is the contract effective from after a month, so 15th of December?
It's $150,000 a year, and it's a one-year contract.
Right.
It's got two options to renew for also 150, and it is a not-to-exceed number.
Okay, let me take a step back. We are in the middle of November. This resolution will get effect in a week or a month, whatever it takes by law. Is this starting from the approval date, or this is already from January 1st, 2022?
This is for the new year, for January.
23?
I can confirm that for you.
Okay. Because I'm not comfortable approving something at the end of the year for the services if they're already rendered throughout the year. If it is for 2023, this ideally should go into 2023 budget, not in 2022. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from council members from 7?
Council President,
Yes, you have the floor, Councilman Patel.
for the ice rink, we're going to charge $5. Does that money go toward the township or to the vendor?
That's what the fee for the township that's we're collecting.
Is there a reason why we're collecting $5? Like, just curious.
Offset the cost.
It was a service, to offset the cost, it's a service that we're providing at the time. It's a recreational, like any type of recreation activity that we would charge to.
Okay.
So that's why the $5 was set.
Thank you.
Yeah, Council President.
Yes.
That brings another question, the ice rink. Thank you, Councilman Patel, for bringing this up. What's our insurance on this? Because if you are collecting $5, is that going to fund the insurance? Because this is something high-risk activity. It's a great thing to do. But my question is, the insurance, do we know the cost of the insurance?
It should be covered under our blanket insurance for the year, so any activity that we have an umbrella over whatever activities we're performing. This is not in addition to.
Understood, but this is not something we do year over year, so is this known to the insurance company that we are adding the activity which was not originally in the list?
They're always notified if there's anything, because there has to be a certificate issued even with the vendor, so our insurance carrier would know about the activity.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilmember Patil. Any other questions again before we move on from the business administrator? A, B, C, D, and F. Hearing none, moving to 8, from the Department of Finance, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H. Any questions or comments?
Council President.
Yes, you have the floor.
On E, on the best practices inventory questionnaire for calendar year 2022, can we just get an overview of what that is and to whom that's given?
Councilwoman, the state annually requires us to complete this inventory. It's a checklist of approximately 60 different questions. Some are scored, some are not, and they all relate to different types of best practices that the state sees municipalities using around the state. And to give further incentive to compel and encourage municipalities to improve operations and adopt some of these best practices, they now, over the past couple of years, tie our state aid to our score on this. So if we received a score less than 75% of affirmative positive answers, we could see a 25% reduction in our state aid. I'm pleased to report that over the past several years, and including this year, the township has scored in the 90th percentile of scoring with regard to best practices. There are certain things that we just cannot comply with in terms of what some other municipalities are doing, but overall, we received a score of 30 out of 36 on positive.
So who does receive, what departments receive the questionnaire?
So it comes generally to the township, and the Department of Finance coordinates it. We get input from planning, zoning, engineering, administration, human resources, and then we compile all the answers. It's reviewed by our business administrator to make sure that everything is completely accurate, because there's certifications that have to be signed off on by several people, and it's subject to audit by the state comptroller. So we do our best job to make sure it's 100% accurate.
Okay. Thank you.
Ken, is it possible you can have a copy of the questionnaire?
Yes.
Okay, can you provide that to the council members when you have time?
Absolutely.
Through the business administrator.
Yes.
And by the way, and it is also available on DCA's website. It is each year. So, but we'll get a copy of it.
Okay, great. Any other questions or comments, A, B, C, from the Department of Finance?
Which,
Yes?
oh, that's from Finance.
Okay, moving forward to Department of Health. A, any questions or comments?
They utilize the senior citizen for operation of the county senior meal program. When will this start? When the building opens?
It's still active, so the meals are prepared over in Sayreville, and then they're distributed. We still work out of Clara Barton for any additional meals. So the program is active. This is just to renew the shared services agreement with the county.
All right. All right. So, but when we go back to our building, it will no longer, we don't have to go to Clara Barton?
No, we'll go back to the senior building. So, and just as information purposes, it is the construction is underway, and we're hoping by the end of the year that the building will be back.
Yes, and when the building's back, will we be privy to information and stuff about programs and stuff that should take place there?
I can certainly distribute that to all of you.
All right, thank you very much. Because seniors call and they want to know what's available to them within the township. So I would like to be able to answer them and let them know what they're getting for their taxes. Thank you.
Thank you, Thank you, Council Vice President. Moving forward, the Department of Law, A, B, and C. Any questions or comments from council members?
Council President.
Yes, Councilmember Brescher, you have the floor.
B, I see we have a settlement agreement.
Correct.
What is the dollar amount of that settlement agreement, or what are the, I didn't see that.
So if you look at the terms of the settlement agreement, which was part of your packet, there was there's $819,000, I believe is the amount, probably a little bit of change, that is on deposit by the developer with regards to the tree conservation ordinance contribution. We've been working with them over the years. Obviously, $800,000 is a lot of money with regards to our tree fund. We ended up compromising the amount to $450,000, so the township is keeping $450,000. So that's what we're getting, and we're going to refund the remaining amount, which I believe is $369,000.
And now let me ask you a question. How much money are they supposed to put in per tree by our ordinance?
I think it depends on the caliper of the tree, and don't hold me to it. I think that depending on the caliper, it could be as much as $300 a tree.
So we had 300 times like 1,600 trees, I think.
I wouldn't go by, once again, I don't think that it's a straight calculation that way. It depends on the caliper of the tree. I don't have that in front of me, but we can get it for you. We can get you how they did the calculation.
Okay, let me tell you where I have a serious issue with this.
Okay.
So a developer comes in and they ask for a developer's agreement. And typically in there, it's a way to streamline the process. They can come in and ask for concessions, let's say. And then they make a developer's agreement, which in my mind is another word for a contract. So they agreed, and they even stated that they are, as a sustainable company, SEGMA appreciates the purpose of the ordinance, which is to replace trees removed during development. We're excited to present this opportunity to the public. So when they were going for the developer's agreement, they stated that they wanted to plant these 1,600 trees. Once they built the building, it's my understanding that now all of a sudden they wanted to negotiate. So my question would be, why would we want to negotiate when there was an agreement? You know, maybe they should tear the building down. We should start from scratch, close off the road. I don't know. There's things legally, I guess, that you could do. But I'm saying, to me, we made a contract. Maybe not this council approved it, but Edison's town council approved it. And now we're looking to take less because somebody said that they don't want to. I agreed to pay my taxes like every resident we have. And, you know, I don't know that it would be fair for me to say that I'm going to appeal my taxes and therefore, Sonia, instead of me sending you $15,000 this year, I'm only going to send you 10 until we settle it. So I'm saying, why would I want to approve this as a council member?
So let me just talk about the nature of developers' agreements. We're talking about developers' agreements and not redevelopers' agreements, and that's important. So developers' agreements in New Jersey, the law is essentially that you can't agree to a developer's agreement anything more than what the obligations you might have in an ordinance. So we're not free to negotiate with every developer for payments for, let's say, off-track improvements, for instance, or for anything else that's not already contained in our ordinance. So developers' agreements are only there for the purpose of memorializing what are the obligations that are imposed by the planning board legally and what are imposed by your ordinances. However, the law in this state is that you have up to 2 years after you get your approval to challenge any condition of your approval, and this is one of those circumstances. So this is a circumstance where we have a developer who has taken a position with us that they were considering a challenge to our ordinance and to the manner in which we collect our tree conservation fund. We had engineering go back to it and planning go back to it, and administratively we went back to it, and we determined that given it's an extraordinary amount of money that they were asked to post, that we thought $450,000 was an adequate and appropriate payment. Council can differ with us. That certainly is the case, but I just want to make it clear that it doesn't mean that they're not free, should you not settle this, to then sue us and claim that they're have to pay nothing or $100,000 or challenge your ordinance completely. So that's how it got to where it got to here today.
So a developer's agreement allows them to go back and challenge the contract. So we negotiated in good faith, or
No, we
put
didn't
some-
negotiate anything. So that's the point with developers' agreements. Developers' agreements aren't a negotiation. Developers' agreements, as opposed to redevelopers' agreements, are simply memorializing. So the developers' agreement says that your water connection fee is X times your number of connections, and we put it in the ordinance. So it's memorialized and it gets recorded, so it's all in one place. But that doesn't mean that somebody can't come back and say, oh, you improperly adopted your water connection fee ordinance and challenge it. So developers' agreements are not negotiated. They are merely a memorialization of what the obligations that were imposed by the planning board. It does not mean that those obligations can't be challenged. It just memorializes them. They're not negotiations. I don't want you to think that. In New Jersey, we're not able to negotiate for fees or contributions that are not part of our ordinances.
Okay, then what would be the purpose of having a developer's agreement as opposed to them just going to planning, having planning just approve their plan and they building a warehouse?
Because the planning board resolution doesn't contain the detail that the developer's agreements contain. So the planning board agreement might say you're to pay all of the fees that are required by the water department, for instance. But those fees are then set forth in the developer's agreement, so that we agree as to what those numbers are. And the same thing with regards to the level of bonding.
Wait, you just said agree. So there is no agreement.
When I say we agree as to the number, we agree that it's X number of units times the connection fee and whatever that math is. That's all. We're only agreeing on the math. We're not saying, well, in this circumstance, maybe we want you to pay a little bit more for your water connections. There's not a negotiation here. It's an exercise in us memorializing what was required by the planning board resolution.
Okay, I guess that's where my
That's all it
problem
is.
is, right, is that my belief was that that people agreed to this.
No.
But now you're telling me that 2 years they have a right to challenge it. So there really is no use to have what you said is agree, but obviously you agreed, or not you,
Right.
but the attorney.
Maybe I should have used the word acknowledge.
Right, you know what I mean?
Acknowledge. Yes, and I can tell you the genesis of it in Edison, because I wrote the first ordinance here that required it, is that there was a planning board hearing at which a developer said, well, okay, I'll do X. And then the developer didn't do it, and there was nothing in the planning board resolution that supported it, so we started to do developers agreements so we could capture those kind of things. So you'll see language in these developers agreements that bind them to whatever they agreed to before the planning board, for instance. It's really part and parcel of us trying to memorialize in one place so people don't forget what it was that was done at the time.
Right, so
That's
to
what-
make this simple, he had certain fees that he was obligated to pay
Correct.
by our code and our ordinances. He then came back as his right is,
Mm-hmm.
and he's saying he doesn't want to pay them.
Correct.
But he was never upfront or anything about that to tell us that, so we could have talked, that could have, maybe we could have changed something or whatever it was, we
Right.
could have looked at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, to me, this makes him a bad neighbor, so I feel not inclined to support, anything less than what was agreed upon initially. Thank you.
Mr. President?
Councilman, I'm going to pull this ordinance. I was on the planning board, the resolution. I'm going to pull this. I was on the planning board at the time when this happened, and I was there the day they made the obligation upon approval that they would plant these 1,600 trees. I remember the argument between the town they made with our past business administrator. I need more time to look at this. And
So,
I'm
and I don't-
frustrated they haven't, they got their building approved, Counselor, a 600,000 square foot building for Amazon.
699.
600,000 square feet, right?
699. I think.
699, they got approved. It was a challenge for them to meet their obligations for the approval. And the planning board worked with them on every avenue. And they were more than happy to do this planting. I witnessed it. I was there at the meeting. And I don't know how you go back on your obligation when you make this commitment to the planning board and its members before they vote. I'm confused. I just need more time, and that's my position.
Can I suggest, and here's my only suggestion, not for tonight, but at the next meeting, Cheryl, could you perhaps put this on for a closed session so we can, I don't really feel comfortable in having that part of the conversation in public. So perhaps at the next
That's-
meeting, you could put it on for closed session.
Yes,
Does
and-
that make sense?
Yes, and Lou, just on another note, I asked at one of the meetings, I asked David if I can get a list of legal matters that we have that are pending. He told me he was going to get them to me. Now, I was sick for like 3 weeks where, but I don't think I received them. Could you just make sure that I get
Yeah, I will.
those?
This wouldn't have showed up on it, but I will get you a list of those matters.
All right, thank you. Council President.
And just another point here, I'm not saying we didn't do a good job negotiating, I'm challenged about the commitment they made in front of the planning board and how they swiftly turned it around because the resolution was written in their favor. And there was some oversight. If you listen to the testimony, it's crystal clear of what the obligation they made to plant the 1,600 trees. I just don't know how they afford any different from somebody else who's building a small, single-family home. They have to plant, they have to pay, and they certainly have a better leverage to pay than anybody else. I just don't see how they run away from their obligations. So when we sit down in that closed session, I'd like to hear a detail. Can we move on from this ordinance, from this resolution?
Well, yes.
Councilmember Patel, Councilmember, can we allow Councilmember Patel to go, please?
I just had a question. So Lou, you were saying that the average charge is around 300 per tree?
I once again, Sonia has it.
So with regard to the ordinance, so they have to post a bond of 15% of the cost of the tree replacement. That also includes labor, administrative fees, things of that nature. So if you look at tonight's agenda, there's a refund that we're issuing. So a portion of that is going to be issued to the resident. So that's how it typically works with the bond ordinance.
Okay. Because,
With the bonding of the tree replacement.
okay, so it's not a particular specific amount.
It's a percentage. And
Just, Council President, just want to continue the discussion. And the reason, I agree with, some of the things, Council President, you said, as well as my council colleague, Brescher, said, we cannot have a developer come back and negotiate after they agreed. Yes, they were aware, they didn't challenge, but this is going to open the can of worms. Somebody who paid their dues, they agreed when they got approved. Now some XYZ developer comes and say, I don't agree, I want to go in court. Feel free. Thank you, sir. That should be our position. We should be strong enough to say that you acknowledge, you agreed to pay this fee. Because it's not just that one developer. There are hundreds of other developers who are doing the business in this town. And there are residents who are paying their dues. So we can't just take one person out and negotiate with him or her and get away with this thing. Again, I'm frustrated with this. Again, thank you, Council President.
Yeah, thank you, Councilmember Patel. I think the council made it clear that they're appealing this, so I imagine they can appeal anything they want in the resolution. So we'll find out at the next meeting when we sit back and do a closed session.
Council President?
We're moving on from this. Any other questions, comments on this ordinance, on this resolution? I'm sorry.
If I may, Council
Yeah,
President.
sure.
Just for clarification, the tree replacement is $500 per. The calipers come in when it comes to the replacement amounts. That's just for clarification purposes. I do have comments, but I believe they are better suited for closed session. I don't know if we may be more suited to do that tonight versus waiting. I'd like to take everyone's temperature on that.
I think this is pulled out of the agenda, right?
I'm open to that discussion. I just don't know if the council has been prepared for the closed
And
session.
either way, I just thought that since I don't have with me, I would like to put a short memo together, give you a copy of the correspondence that we received from the developer, give you a copy of the ordinance so you have it in front of you, give you a copy of the calculation so we can understand what it was. I just think that kind of information would probably be helpful to your consideration.
Yes.
I'm in agreement with that.
Yes, but Council President, this means that we will not be approving this.
No,
resolution.
you're going to hold it until the
Perfect.
next meeting.
Thank you.
You're going to hold it until the next meeting.
And, okay. Any other question or comments from the Department of Law A, B, and C?
Council President?
Yes, I'm sorry, Councilman Besher, you have the floor.
C, I know that we talk started about closing this street. I think this is by the Woodrow Wilson.
Correct. Oh, you mean opening the street?
Right. And I was, I took part in some of the preliminary discussions with Councilwoman Joy Shep with these schools. And I know that the police department was supposed to give us some kind of information as to what it would do and help us with traffic over there by opening that up, because I know the residents probably don't want it, right? So it has to be a benefit to the township for us to open that up now to the residents, where they had a dead-end street, and now they're going to have traffic on the street. So I'm wondering if we can get any information on that.
So two things. First, there are some residents who, there are, I believe, 10 homes that are on Gloria Street who may not be in favor of this, but there's another development where the traffic has been diverted into another part of that development. But I do have Sergeant Semino here tonight, and I think that she may be able to answer your questions.
We do have the sergeant here, so she can clarify exactly what the situation is with regard to egress only. If you could just come up to the podium, Sergeant.
And Sergeant, I want you to know that I would have known this if I wasn't sick and missed those Board of Ed meetings. I'm sure I would have been part of it.
My apologies. I was unaware that you had asked for any type of material.
No, I wasn't. But normally I'd be at those meetings, but I wasn't at the last few meetings because I wasn't feeling well.
Okay. I have some paperwork here if you'd like it. I did make some copies today. So
Okay.
if you'd like that.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So as you can see on the first page that I've given you, it's a letter from the fire marshal. He's indicating that with the traffic coming down Woodrow Wilson, it would be a detriment to any medical or emergency services to go down there, especially one of those large fire trucks. So if you can look at the photographs that I've sent you in your packet, you could see what the morning looks like.
Is that first photograph, that's Woodrow Wilson?
It is.
Is that correct?
Yes. So what happens is that the parents come in, they get landlocked, and then they would just have to sit there until they're directed out of there. So it's a big progress for the residents to come in and then having to leave.
Sergeant, could you just explain the timing of when it will be open and then when they would be closed again, the street?
So for Gloria Avenue, we're looking to open it at 7:30 a.m. and close it at 8:30. And then reopen it from 3 p.m. and close it at 4 p.m. And that will be closed with a gate.
Okay, so there's going to be a gate, and then that way if fire has to get in, well,
We'll be able to open it.
right, they can just go through the gate.
No, we'll be able to open it.
I don't think we need to.
Okay. And I know that, because I live on Grove, right? So you guys did something, you changed the traffic pattern there.
Okay.
Instead of traffic being 20 minutes, it's 15 or 16 minutes. I mean, it's a couple minutes. But when you're waiting, a couple minutes, does matter to people. I do get that.
Did your children go to Woodrow Wilson?
No, J.P. Stevens and then John Adams.
Okay.
And John Adams has a circle thing in and out. They have more than just the one access point.
If you look at page number 2, it's from a letter from Jennifer Blevins. She's the principal over there, and she is ecstatic with us opening up Gloria Avenue just to allow traffic to exit out of the school for those 2 hours.
Actually, I know her and I do trust her judgment. I do believe it will make a positive impact to the school, right? My concern was also that we have the residents there.
We do, and we also make concessions where we would do residential parking only, so no other person would be able to park on the street without, possibly getting a citation or a warning from the traffic division.
And it's going to be twice a day.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, I will tell you, like living on Grove, I grew up there. I moved back there. The traffic is not that bad when you know exactly when that 20-minute period, when that traffic is there.
Unfortunately for these parents, they don't have that luxury of, coming or changing their times. They have to be at school at a certain time.
Yes, yes.
Now, if you look all the way towards the back of the page, I have a traffic study which was conducted.
That's what I was asking, yes.
Oh, okay, my apologies. If you can look at the times, we're going to start on October 28th at 7 o'clock, because it's done by hours. So if you look on the left-hand side, it's a volume by time.
Yes.
Okay. On October 28th, you see at 7 o'clock, there's 101 cars, and at 8 o'clock, there's 227 cars. So you add those together, and that's what you have from 7 to 8. So that's a lot of cars just going down Woodrow Wilson.
And you're going to do some sort of a loop, I'm presuming? Or is one entrance for one reason and the other one's going to be for another?
Well, you're not going to be able to go down Gloria. You're only going to be able to come up Gloria.
Okay. So you're going to
So-
make it more like a loop, so they're kind of going in the one way and then they're going to be coming out?
You can
Correct, and you
either-
won't be able to make a left, there'll be no left turn on Plainfield, so.
That's what they did.
It won't back that way, because that was the other concern, is that it would just then back that way, so.
So you'll only be able to make a right-hand turn on Gloria between those hours. So
Okay.
From 7:30 to 8:30, and from 3 to 4, you'll only be able to make a right-hand turn. Okay,
Yes.
but if you need to make a left-hand turn, you'll have to go down Woodrow Wilson.
You have to go down, right. And that's what you kind of did at JP Stevens. Does kind of work. It helps the traffic flow. I mean, I will tell you that. It does save a couple minutes.
Good, I appreciate that. But as you can see, the times between 7 and 8 o'clock, especially on November 4th, you could see 206 cars at 8 o'clock. The 3rd of November, 215. I mean, it just goes up. And then if you look from 3 to 4, I mean, you have over 200 cars on some days. So it's a pretty bad area.
Okay, so we're only going to be utilizing it 2 hours a day,
That's it.
no weekends,
It'll
no
be-
holidays?
It'll be for, no, not holidays, but it'll be for special events. So if they have a choir or a special, just say, basketball game, it'll be utilized on whatever those hours are, just to let them out.
And they've agreed on specialized permits for parking?
Yeah, for everybody, I spoke to all the residents there, and I provided them with a letter indicating what we were planning on doing. And some of them asked us to change the hours of in and out, which we were more than happy to do. And we had suggested that possibly giving them residential parking, and they seemed that they were pretty good with that.
Oh, okay, okay.
The backup document says 7 through 9 and 2 to 4. So is that wrong?
No, that's incorrect. It's from 7:30 to 8:30 and 3 to 4. So some of the parents had expressed to me that they have to go to another school, and so to drop their kid off before 9 o'clock. So they had asked us to change it from 8:30 or 7:30 to 8:30, and then obviously 3 to 4.
Thank
Council
you.
President? Yeah.
Yes.
I have a question here. I know that, you might have spoken to the residents of Gloria Avenue and
Gloria Avenue, you said?
Gloria Avenue,
Yes,
correct?
sir.
They are probably the one who will be disappointed, because if you look at, even in today's context, they can make a left turn on Plainfield Avenue, even today. During daytime, school time, night time, because given the nature of the traffic on the Plainfield Avenue. Now, there will be through traffic from Gloria Avenue. And if you look at the condition of that street, at this point in time, it's terrible. There are a lot of potholes on that road.
There's a lot of parked vehicles.
Potholes, that road is not good. It's in bad shape.
Potholes on the road.
Potholes, my
Potholes.
apologies.
Yeah.
I believe, from what I was told, that that's supposed to be paved along with the school area once all this construction goes through. That's what I was advised.
But at this point in time, because if we are going to roll out this plan, again, the road is not good. The residents cannot make the left turn for their own. My question is going to be for those residents. And whenever we implement, again, this is great, wherever we can help to eliminate the traffic congestion, improve the traffic flow, I'm all for it. But at the same token, the people who are living in that neighborhood.
You mean on Glory Avenue?
On Glory Avenue.
Okay.
So if you look at the Glory Avenue itself, the roads are not great. The second thing is going to be enforcement. We're talking about the morning 2 hours, afternoon 2 hours.
No,
I
it's
bet.
1 hour in the morning and 1 hour at night.
I bet the enforcement is going to be the key.
Enforcement?
Yes,
Well,
you
of
will
course,
see
there's
people
always
coming.
enforcement.
Yeah, but you will see the people coming throughout the day, and who is going to be there to watch?
Well, we're going to open and close the gate, right?
Oh,
It's
who's going to be opening and closing the gate? The school will be opening and
So
closing the
you
gate.
manually going to open and close
Yes.
every day?
Mhm.
Very good.
Yeah.
We'll see
I
how.
already spoke to Ms. Blevins, and she indicated that the school security guards will be opening and closing the gate every day.
Okay, we'll see how it.
That will not be an issue.
Okay, because even today, people do come and wait there. I have seen, on and off.
Well, we can't stop that now.
That's correct, but that's more of an enforcement, right? We can't stop because.
But there's no local ordinance preventing them.
Correct, and that's what we are saying. No parking because it's going to be resident parking only.
Exactly.
As long as we are making that road as a resident parking, then we can enforce. That's my
Absolutely.
question. Yes.
But obviously, I would like to give warnings first before I do enforcement.
Okay. Thank you.
Good question I just had to ask. Sergeant, what has changed? I'm well aware of this and I'm in support of it, but residents have asked me, what's changed that we have to do this now from the difference it's been surviving for 20 years like this? What chain of events caused us to do this now in the traffic?
I'm just a little bit. Maybe, because, I don't know, I might be the oldest one here. I think I might be.
Yeah, yeah.
My kids walk to school. Nobody's children walk to school anymore. Everybody gets driven to school. And that's what's changed over the last 20 years is now everybody drives their kids to school. Nobody's children walk to school or drive their bikes to school. Everybody, so the amount of traffic that now goes on Woodrow Wilson Road, and remember, when you look at the map, I mean, there are 5 or 6 houses on Gloria, but there are a lot of houses on Woodrow Wilson who can't get out of their driveways in the morning.
Just to let you know, I spoke to Ms. Blevins. There's only 16 buses that go to the school.
Right.
Only 16.
Yeah.
Yes.
For 1,200 students and 3 vans. So everybody else is driving in.
Correct. And that literally is what's changed over here. That's a phenomena of the last 20 years.
And also, I want to add to his with the subscription busing, because we had a problem getting bus drivers for the regular students. So the subscription busing also makes an enormous amount of cars go through there at all, And I walked 2 miles, and that's not a joke. I walked 2 miles to school.
And aren't we overlooking the obvious in terms of the increase in student population as well at Woodrow and all the schools? But I think that would account for it as well.
Sure.
Yeah, not to play down, there are not 6 houses on Gloria. There are definitely 12
More,
to 14 houses are there.
14.
Correct. But there's more than that on Woodrow, though. So, I mean, there's, the problem is it's kicking the traffic into instead of just a normal loop to get out, it's kicking the traffic into all of those streets.
Yes, sir.
I think if you pave over that street first and then implement this, the resident will be happy.
If I could pave that road, I would. I don't have the control over that. I'm
So you
sorry.
can recommend that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can talk to Brian about that, Picarella. Anything else?
Anything else?
I had a question for the DA.
Okay,
Would the backup document be updated to reflect the time? Currently it states 7 to,
The ordinance that we're introducing?
yeah,
I'm sure we can have that changed now.
I believe it's
Yeah.
in the
Lou?
ordinance.
Yeah.
So if my paperwork's incorrect, my apologies.
Okay.
It's 7:30 to 8:30, and you said from 2:30 to 4?
3 to 4.
3 to 4, 3 to 4. I forgot it's middle school, 3 to 4. I'm used to high school.
That's it. Thank you.
We have it 7, right, Sergeant, right now we have it 7 to 9 and 2 to 4, and you think it should be,
7:30 to 8:30 and 3 to 4.
that's fine. So, Cheryl, we can just introduce it as corrected, 7:30 to 8:30, and then, give me again?
3 to 4 p.m.
3 to 4, got it,
Thank you, sir.
got it. I'm in, so,
And within that, there would be an exception if there was a basketball game that late that night or some type of,
Choir, dance. or-
yeah, dance or, yeah, a classical music thing, okay.
School functions, I should say.
As long as that gate is locked, that's the key.
The
It
gate?
is open, the timing has no meaning.
Okay. No, the gate will be locked, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are small questions to the BA. We installed the gate, or the gate?
Those are all what the improvements we're making on there.
Is that part of part of this ordinance of the installation of the gate?
The ordinance only constitutes,
the-
obviously, the timing and the restrictions on there, but everything else is done in-house, so
Yeah.
whatever construction.
and just for the record, and I don't want to make sure, and let me tell you why I don't think that the ordinance is incorrect. I think the ordinance, the timing that they're talking about is the no left turn
Oh, the
on
no left
Plainfield.
turn.
That's different. So the section of the ordinance that says that the township by their police department can move the gate, that doesn't have a time frame on it. Our intention is for it to be the time from 7:30 to 8:30. It's the no left turn part of it that we had from 7 to 9 and from 2 to 4.
Well,
onto-
some of the residents had some concerns, and they're expressing to me that they wouldn't be able to make the left-hand turn in order to go down to another school.
Correct.
So I told them that.
We
I
would
spoke to-
change it until then?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's the change. So the part of the ordinance that has a time frame in it is the no left turn. So that's what we're talking about, making it 7:30 to 8:30 and 3 to 4.
Correct.
Can I ask a question then? If that's the ordinance, do we have an ordinance to put the gate and open the gate and close the gate?
Yes, there's a, well, further on there is that it's only opened by the police department, correct?
Oh, really? Because I spoke to, like I said, I spoke to Ms. Blevins, and that she's indicated that she would be opening and closing. Not her, per se, but one of
Well,
the-
it's somebody at your direction, right?
Exactly.
Correct.
And are those hours, though, listed on there?
No, they aren't because they may change because of special events and the like, but it'll be with the authority of the police department.
And the residents seem like they were acceptable to that?
Correct.
There was one or two that was upset about it, but the
Okay.
majority of the people that I spoke with, they seemed okay with the direction I was trying to explain it to them. So, and I really got nobody saying anything negative, except for maybe one or two houses.
All right, thank you.
Well, there's a gate there now.
There is a gate there
Okay,
now.
There's a gate there now.
Okay.
Yeah, the gate exists currently.
Relic,
So
actually.
you got Cheryl, you got what the notes are? So when we introduce it, we'll just make sure it's clear that that's what it is.
All right. Thank you.
That's on the table of the glory.
Okay, I think, any other questions for Sergeant Semino?
Nope, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is off record, but since we're discussing this, the name Semino, our Lieutenant Semino is here tonight, and he's retiring. So I just wanted to thank you for your service and good luck in your retirement. I'm happy Sergeant Semino will still be here. So congratulations. Moving forward, any other questions or comments for the Department of Law? Moving forward to 11, Department of Planning and Engineering, Resolution A.
Council President?
Yes.
Looking to get clarification, normally if a tree is supposed to be replaced, they make a contribution to the tree fund per our previous.
We're talking about, now we're talking about two different things. So where the tree maintenance, I believe it's a complete, once the trees are planted, they have to maintain them for a period of time, and once the trees are there, it's 2 years. So once they're there for 2 years, we inspect and make sure they're there for 2 years, and then we release their bond.
Here's my question. So,
That's different than a tree. The contribution is when you don't replant the tree. If you replant the tree, it's a different thing.
I
It's two
understand.
completely different things.
No, I understand that, and I appreciate the clarification. Say, for instance, in the initial approval, and I'm just using this for example purposes, there were 30 trees that, by calculation, needed to be replaced. They were saying that they were going to pay or going to replant 20 of those trees. Now, of those 20 trees, or in this is actually 19, but of those 19 trees, only 10 have survived. So there's a 9 tree deficit. Now, I understand in regards to the tree bond that it is a 15% of the overall amount, but if you were to take 9 times 500, that's 4,500 versus the refund of what they're getting. Does that make sense? Because there's a difference in.
No, it doesn't make sense. So what happens is that when they plant trees, they post a bond. The bond is there for they're obligated to maintain them for 2 years, but we've taken the security in a certain amount for that purpose. Once we get to the end of the 2-year period, if all of the trees that they bonded are still alive, they get their bond release. That's all there is. It's not anything more complicated than that. If only 10 of them are, they won't get their bond release. It has to be all of them. So that's the answer. I mean, this bond release is not like any other. It's not unlike any other bond release. If they had to bond a sidewalk, 2 years later the sidewalk can't be cracked. If it's cracked, they don't get their bond release until they fix it.
Yeah, my point, I guess, is that if they weren't going to replace the tree, the amount that would have been contributed is a higher fee. And that's why I'm trying to get clarification.
Yes, the contribution is, so if you're not going to replace it, so now you took down, and once again, I'm in rough math, you took down 100 trees, but you replaced 50. So you can make a contribution into the tree fund for the other 50 trees.
Yes.
That's not, that, by the way, and that's what the other agreement was about. It was about a contribution. It wasn't about a posting of a bond.
Yes, but that's my point.
And there is a schedule in once again, there's a schedule in the ordinance, and I just don't have, I apologize, I don't have the ordinance in front of me. I could pull it up. I'd like to circulate it. And I don't believe that it's $500 a tree. I think that it depends on the caliper of the tree you're taking down. Not every tree is $500. I think it's different than the bond that's being posted.
Any questions or comments from the Department of Planning and Engineering? Hearing none, moving forward to 12, the Department of Public Works, A, B, C, and D. Any questions or comments?
Council President?
Yes, Councilmember
It's
Patil?
B.
D?
It's B. It says Council Chamber Public Works Kitchen. Do we have kitchen?
Yes.
In the back.
In the Public Works garage.
And council chambers.
Council Chamber.
Right, there is a counter right there, the little small area there that's getting replaced. If you walk past and to get to the bathroom, there's an area there.
Okay. I never realized there is a kitchen. There is a countertop there, but it's not a kitchen. Kitchen means it has an appliances, at least some refrigerator, microwave.
There is actually a stove there.
Oh. Do we need that?
You didn't see it back there?
Madam Clerk,
It's working? Do we need that?
it's
No, it's being removed, it's not working.
So we are removing it. We are not replacing it, right?
We are placing it.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, we're not replacing it?
No, the kitchen's going in Public Works, I think.
So we're moving all that stuff from back there?
Correct.
And why would we be removing it?
Pardon me?
The kitchen back here?
Yeah.
Councilman Brushman, if I may?
Can we just interrupt here? We can have a free-for-all conversation. Madam Clerk, I'm fine with the answers. The BA, could you answer the questions, please?
Sure, what we're trying to do in this building is make general improvements, so part of that is to update the part of the council chambers, so there is a kitchen area there that we want to get updated and remove the actual stove that's there and get some cabinetry done, so I hope that answers your question.
What I read was we were going to redo it, but then I heard that we weren't going to redo it. You got to understand, I mean, I'm opposed to redoing that just for the same principle that my council colleague said that we didn't know it existed because we never used it. So we could just build a wall across the space and use it for storage probably. In fact, on my 2 years on council, I think I only went into closed session twice. So yes, I mean, whatever the funds are, $2,500, I'm not sure exactly what the dollar amount is, but I just don't see a need, that's all.
Sonia, is this for 2 locations, the council chambers and public works kitchen?
There may be more, and they're on there, I'll just,
Okay.
if I can
All
get
right,
that
so
for
it's
you.
not just our small cubby kitchen here.
No, not at all.
No.
And-
Any questions or comments on the Department of Public Works, A, B, C, and D?
Yeah, Council President, I just went there and checked. It says do not use, so that's only the gas stove there, so that can be gone. Thank you.
Okay, moving forward, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, moving to 13, Department of Recreation, A and B. Hearing none, moving forward to the 14, Department of Water and Sewer. Any questions or comments?
Council President,
yes,
can we go
Councilmember
back
Teal.
to the recreation? On the B, on the recreation, set parks and recreation fees for the special events. Again, question to administrator through council president. I think, we need to bring some sort of a resolution on the park and recreation fees for the non-profit organizations. Because it comes on and off, some people pay, some don't, so we need to be consistent. Thank you, Council President.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Moving forward to the Chief of the Fire, approval of volunteer firefighter. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, moving to the Chief of Police, A, B, and C. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, moving to 17 for the Township Clerk, A and B. Any questions or comments?
Council President, on B,
Yes. Yes, you have the
so
floor,
this, the additional license,
Madam Clerk.
I think that a few months ago, we had one more license.
We advertised twice already, and we didn't receive any bids, so we're doing it again.
So we are doing it again, okay,
We're
thank you. It's
rebidding the
a-
same, we didn't add a new.
So this is not new, so it's the one that we
Well, it's still
advertised.
considered a
Okay.
new because, but yes.
Sounds good, thank you.
Council President?
Yes.
Regarding the meeting schedule for next year, an awful lot of combined meetings again, and we understand around holidays, but there are some, and I don't have the schedule in front of me, but in looking at it yesterday, there do seem to be a lot of combined that don't have real explanations to them. So can you enlighten us?
Madam Clerk, do you want,
Yeah,
that's your,
Because taking consideration Jewish holidays, there's
do you have it
other
print?
cultural holidays, and then where they fall, and then our holidays too, that's why we have combined meetings. I mean, I got the calendars, and that's how I came up with it, if you want to, that's how I schedule them, because we're required to have 2, second and fourth of each month, and then when it falls on a holiday of, like I said, ours or another holiday, that's why I do the juggling.
Do you want to pull it out, or you want to just go back to it once we move forward? Why don't we just go to we'll go through the agenda, and then we'll just go, can we come back to this, Councilmember Harris? You have it out now?
What, I'm sorry, what are you asking?
I wanted to go through with you.
Okay,
we'll just
I
do it now.
don't have it in front of me right now.
Okay,
but
I can give you a copy of mine.
That's great.
Council President, we have a time, right? We can still put this back on next council meetings.
Yeah, well,
agenda.
what is it, we set, Madam Clerk, you can answer the
I'm sorry,
process.
what did you say?
What's the time lead you need before it needs to be published? Can this be moved to the next council meeting?
I can, if you want to move it to the next council meeting. It's a resolution, so it's not
Yeah.
like an ordinance.
And,
I
Councilmember
just have
Harris,
to publish and all beforehand.
Correct. This will give enough
I
time.
wanted to go
yeah.
past the next meeting, because then we're into December, and we really got to organize,
Right, and I think you also, I don't know, Ken DeRoberts is here and he can answer this question. I think you're trying to get
have
the
to
money
set
so
the
that it's available,
finance,
so that
yep.
you'll have it available in next year's budget. So you don't want to delay, but is there more information that you need, Councilman?
I mean, Councilmember Harris, the council president can also adjust the schedule once it's set. I believe it's just an outline draft of what 2023 will be.
Yeah, I guess it looks like moving forward with all the holidays that there are, we're going to have a lot of combined meetings. I mean, it looks like this is going to be the trend, no?
Well, I'm open to go through it with you now, and we can just answer the questions open now. We can give her a copy.
Okay.
Or if we have a new council president that's not a fan of the combined meetings, right? Things could be changed.
Well, I mean, it's interesting that we're looking to change combined
The only
meetings.
thing I can say is that we're going to be getting, changing the day of the meeting.
It's somewhat the
You know what I
same
mean?
schedule for the last
Monday and
25 years,
Wednesday.
Councilman Brescher. I mean, it's only this
I know,
year they
I
have a
know.
problem. But, I mean, I understand, but I mean, it's just, maybe it's this year I'm the council president that there's a problem. But we're all good with that, Councilman Brescher. But I don't disagree with Councilmember Harris. We have it here, we can discuss it, or we can
Next couple.
wait towards the end of the meeting to discuss it. Do you have a copy yet for her?
I don't.
Okay.
Where do we take
I have to get it on my phone.
the next council meeting?
Councilmember Harris, I'm going to move through the agenda, and we're going to come
fine.
back to, so you have
That's
time to
fine.
look at it,
No
prepare your
problem.
questions, and we can do that,
So, it's good.
okay? Okay, council members, from the planning board, a report from Councilmember Pointer. He's actually there.
Councilman Pointer.
He's having a discussion. We'll move. For the planning board, are you prepared?
Sorry about
Will
that.
you report on planning board?
Thank you, Council.
Disrupt them.
No, it's fine.
Thank you, Council President. The next planning board meeting is set for Monday, the 21st, 7 PM here in council chambers. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, unfinished business ordinance for further consideration, public hearing, and final adoption. Any comments? Ordinance amending the code to make Hertzhorn Drive a one-way. Any comments, council members? 2161, 2022. Hearing none, moving to ordinance 2162, 2022. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, discussion items. From my left, Councilmember Pointer.
Thank you, sir. To our attorney, just as I was requested from some residents, is there an update on the Silver Lake property?
I do not have an update today, no. I mean, other than the fact that there is pending litigation, I don't know whether or not the administrator does, but there is currently pending litigation that we're trying to work our way through that would clear the sale for it.
I appreciate it, and I understand we are in that
Correct.
space just out of courtesy to the residents.
That's quite all right.
Don't want to follow up. That's it, Council President. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Councilmember Patil?
Council President.
Yep.
Councilman Brescher, if I'm not mistaken, it's your birthday today, right? Wish you a very happy birthday.
Oh.
Yes.
I just
Well,
saw
at least
that.
we know that now, because we're going out. Usually the guy birthday buys, so this will be great.
A couple of things, Council President, to Administrator. The road paving schedule, I know everything is done. We are approving the funds today. When is it going to start? In 2 weeks, week, 3 weeks?
All depending on the weather, of course, but first things first, we're going to be doing the concrete work before anything, so that'll probably get started this year, obviously, depending on the weather. But we're hoping to hit hard once March comes around, and you'll see a lot more improvements. And just to add to that, I know you talked about Gloria, that is on the list.
Yep.
So obviously, with this ordinance, we'd get it paved next year and smooth sailing.
Hopefully, yep. That brings the other question, because we just approved, will be approving the capital improvement, and we have Ken here. because this will be changed in the financial year from 22 to 23. See, for road paving funds. So this year, are we planning to spend anything on the road paving other than the concrete sidewalk, any of those curves?
Well, we have been, depending on what we've been working on. Is there any additional?
Only the additional roads that are contained in the proposed bond ordinance that we have this evening. But from last year, the roads that have been authorized, the engineering department has been busy working on those and getting plans and specs together. So there's still a lot of activity going on.
Okay. And my short answer is, have we paved any road as of today in Edison?
I can get that list for you.
Perfect, thank you. My second question is, last council meeting, we approved the Summer Street engineering study. Is that study started? Because we don't want this to happen, what Calvert and Stephen will study it 2-3 years, it's still in progress, or I don't know the status. I stopped asking about that. Last council meeting, you and I asked, do we have the ETA? Do we have the timeline when that study will be done for Summer Street?
I apologize. I believe I just actually signed an order for CME to go ahead and get the study done, so that's in the works.
Okay, if you don't mind, can you ask them the timelines?
Sure.
Okay.
I actually, you know what, that was part of my question, and they said within 30 days they should be getting to work on that once I had signed that over.
Thank you. That's it, Council President.
Thank you. Councilmember Patel?
None, sir.
Councilmember Brescher?
Two questions. The one I was asking, and I talked to you briefly earlier, to make sure that we do coordinate our road paving so that when PSE&G is doing half the road, they're going to do the whole road and we swap with them, or the township does, that whole road and we swap with them for something else, just so that when we do road paving, we do curb to curb and we don't have that seam in the middle necessarily. And it's just a hot seam that's done it, all at the same time. And seeing that we have somebody here from finance, I have a question now that I wouldn't otherwise have asked. But has the state approved any health insurance increases? And that's just a concern moving forward with our budget and that, because I heard rumors that the state has approved some increases.
We're actually self-insured, so those state-approved health increases, the 24%, that's gotten everybody pretty upset. That doesn't affect us.
Well, let me just say this. So we're self-insured so that, if someone goes for an x-ray, and right now they're charging $200 for the x-ray, we pay the $200 because we're self-insured. When the state gave them the authorization to increase, would that number still be $200 to us, or would that number now be $200 plus whatever, 20% increase or whatever they approve? So now it wouldn't be $200, it'd be $240. And that would be what we would be obligated to pay.
Councilman, we have not gotten our renewal analysis from our risk manager yet. That's in process. We probably won't get that till sometime in December. But medical inflation, as it hit the state health benefits plan, is certainly hitting us as well. We're not immune from that. So we do expect our contributions for the self-insurance fund next year to have to increase. We don't know how much yet, but it will increase.
Right, that was my fear, because I heard some kind of number of over 20% of an increase, and I believe our health insurance is somewhere around $40 million or so. So
36, yes.
36, okay. So 20% of 36 million is our paving program, so that's why it's a concern. Thank you for the update. And that would be a Council
Thank you,
President.
Councilman Brescher. Councilmember Harris?
Yes. I'm wondering where we are on the appointment of members to the Cultural Arts Committee. We've gotten a number of applications in, and I'm not sure where things are at with the actual official appointments.
I believe we, the council, have 5 appointments.
Okay,
I've only seen a few. I didn't get 5 on our side yet. Madam Clerk, how many do we have? Okay. I can get back to that in a few seconds when she pulls it up. I don't disagree with you.
We have 5.
We have 5 that are in?
Yeah. 5
Okay.
additional to the 2 that have already been assigned by the mayor.
Repeat that again?
5 additional to the 2 that have already been assigned by the mayor.
And we have 5 and the mayor has 2? Is that correct? We can do those interviews this month and put them on the November 30th agenda.
okay, all
Is
right.
that fair enough?
Yeah, I won't be here for the next 2 weeks, so it's, I won't be here for the November 30th meeting, so I'm wondering if it can wait.
Okay.
Till December?
I have no problem waiting until December. We
Okay.
can have it looked at for what's our December meeting, Madam Clerk? The 14th is the next meeting?
Council meeting, the 12th is, yeah.
All right, 14th.
December 14th
Okay. I thought we had one earlier than that. Okay. December 14th, we would be doing it.
would be,
So schedule interviews before that, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll schedule them right away.
okay.
And we would need anybody else, I mean, the 5 we have applied doesn't mean the 5 will qualify. So if there's anybody else that has an interest in applying, certainly fill out an application and drop it
Yes.
off to the clerk.
We would be accepting applications until when at this point?
probably until the 9th, right?
December 9th?
Well, if you were to set this up now, if you want to go through
No,
this
no, no.
in
We'd have to
detail,
have- No, we'd have to have the agenda done by then, so if you want to make it December 2nd.
December 2nd, okay, so putting it out there, anyone who wants to apply for the Cultural Arts Committee, please get an application in by December 2nd. Thank you, we need you.
okay. So we'd have to conduct those interviews between the 5th and the 9th to put them on,
okay.
to put on the agenda. Okay? Okay, let's just schedule that. Any other questions or comments?
Nope.
Okay, moving forward, Council Vice President Troy Shipp.
But she's talking about culture, thinking about the culture program. I am working with the county to get jazz programming for Edison, New Jersey, because when I was sitting listening to the other jazz program, I had to sit and listen in Metuchen. I thought it would be so nice if I could listen to it in my own town. That would be really good. And on some other sad news today that really devastated me, that Sheriff Millie Scott lost her youngest daughter. And it just really smacked me real hard when I heard about it this morning. It's very, very sad, to breast cancer. And I tell everybody, I know this month is prostate cancer, so everybody can be aware. But, I want people to know about, how devastating breast cancer is. And on the back of that, we'll be having a Heart Health Festival in February this year, because more women, whether people know or not, die from heart disease than die from breast cancer. So that will be recognized. Also, in the month of March, we will have Women Matter. So anyone who's out there who would like to send me and send it to the clerk's office, information about a person they would like recognized to receive that, an award. That type of award is for people just overlook those people, but doing a lot of great things within the neighborhood, within the community. So if you can send something and highlight some of the things that people do, I appreciate it a lot. And as I stated before, we had there's a Kwanzaa program, pre-Kwanzaa, talking about culturally. If you would like to know and understand different things, it would be a good time to go on December 10th to Thomas Jefferson. And also, least but not less, I am still having my our senior program with gift cards for Christmas, I like to give out to our seniors in town as many gift cards as I can. And everybody knows with inflation and stuff, everybody's living a little tighter. So I would appreciate anybody within the sound of my voice and for you to tell other people, I will be collecting the gift cards, and please deliver them to the clerk's office. And let's see. And the Veterans Day, people that are interested, Kane College has an outstanding program how they help veterans go from different places and help them with their specific needs. So on that note, I think I've covered all of them. Blah, 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 da, 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 da. Yes, I've covered a lot in those minimum amount of time, but I still like, and I thank everybody for their support at all times. Thank you so much for supporting all the programs that the council puts forth, because we are trying our best to be community-based at the same time. So thank you.
Thank you, Council Vice President. A few discussion items for myself. I just wanted to say thanks to the administration for the Veterans Day, the Veterans Day events that we had that took place, and the signed dedications that happened throughout the town. Just as a reminder, those signed dedications actually came through back when the former Judge Barnes, Senator Barnes, Assemblyman Barnes, Councilman Barnes put that together 20-plus years ago, which we still do today, so we should be proud of. And I think it was a great transition, and I want to thank Gary Thomas for his work that he did in the past. And today, he's retired, and we are working on a transition and working with the veterans to make sure this continues each year. So looking forward to that. In addition, I'll be calling another DPW meeting before the end of the year to discuss the 2023 maintenance of our parks and different systematic calendar issues that come up each year. Also, I'd like to meet with our beautification committee before the end of the year to discuss any landscaping in our parks or planting along Amboy Avenue as well. Have no other discussions?
Council President,
yes.
I forgot one thing that happened, one thing from today. Thanks to everybody who came out to the flag raising for the Polish community. And as I stated earlier, it was very authentic because it was very cold outside while we were there. But I know that they appreciate everyone who came out for the flag raising. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Vice President. If there are no other discussion items, we're going to move forward to start the meeting, the regular meeting. Okay. Approval of the minutes for the combined meeting October 26, 2022. Can I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Councilmember Patil, can I have a second?
Second.
Councilmember Harris. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays?
Same.
Motion carries. Council President Marks, I have none. Moving forward to approval of the volunteer firefighter, motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Councilmember Patil, can I have a second?
Second.
Councilmember Harris, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. '24 unfinished business ordinance for further consideration, public hearing, and final adoption. Clerk, read ordinance.
An ordinance amending Township Code to make Hearthstone Drive one-way street north to south from Woodbrook Drive to Woodbrook Drive.
Okay, open the public for comments. Anyone like to come up for 2161? Yes.
David Belowich, 10 Hearthstone Drive.
You have the floor.
Regarding Ordinance O 2161, the language justification in the ordinance by the Edison Police Department's traffic unit perfectly captures the reasons and the need to move this ordinance forward. The impetus of it began as a grassroots efforts by the residents of Hearthstone Drive and the Edison Police Department traffic unit, formerly headed by Sergeant, now Lieutenant Doug Turner, and now headed by Sergeant Lisa Semino. They met with the neighbors and discussed various scenarios that may help alleviate the congestion and back in June, implemented a voluntary one-way traffic to see if it would help to control the flow of the traffic. The results were not only immediate, but dramatic. Not only have the residents seen the benefit of the whole neighborhood that utilizes Hearthstone Drive for drop-off and pickup, but we've all benefited from the smooth flow of the one-way directional traffic. Personally, I'd like to thank Lieutenant Turner and Sergeant Semino for their ability to recognize a real potential safety hazard and having the ability to offer solutions which will have long-term benefits for the residents and pedestrians alike. Thank you to the Edison Police Department for bringing this forward.
Any other questions or comments from the public? Seeing none, can I have a motion to close the public portion?
Motion to close the public portion.
Teal, can I have a second?
Second.
Councilmember Harris. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The public portion is closed. Can I have a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
Councilmember Teal, can I have a second?
Second.
Councilmember Patel. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilman Brescher.
Yes.
Councilman Harris.
Yes.
Councilperson Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Coyle.
Yes. Madam Clerk, read ordinance.
An ordinance establishing the not-to-exceed salaries for certain officers, department heads, and employees of the township. This is salary range for just the tax assessor.
I'd like to open this up to the public. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, can I have a motion to close the public portion?
Motion to close the public portion.
Councilman Patil, can I have a second?
Second.
Councilman Harris, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries to close the public portion. Any council comments? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
Councilman Patil, can I have a second?
Second.
Patel?
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Coyle.
Yes. New business, proposed ordinance, public hearing set down for Wednesday, November 30th, 2022.
Bond ordinance provided for various capital improvements in and by the Township of Edison, the County of Middlesex, appropriating $7,360,000, therefore authorizing the issuance of $6,992,000 bonds or notes to the Township to finance part thereof.
Can I have a motion to introduce?
I move this ordinance be passed on first reading, published according to the law for further consideration, and public hearing set down for November 30th, 2022.
Can I have a second?
Seconded.
Patil. Any council comments? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Coyle.
Yes. Clerk, read ordinance.
Ordinance amending the Township Code with regards to Glory Avenue for promoting parking, residential parking, turning prohibit, and regulation of traffic.
Can I have a motion to,
But we do have to amend the time.
Yeah,
It's going to be, as we talked in the work
Yeah,
session. it's
it
gonna
doesn't have to be amended, as introduced.
As introduced,
as int-
7:30 to 8:30 and 3 to 4 on the
Correct.
left turn.
Correct.
Okay, now it's motion.
okay, so motion to introduce.
I move this ordinance be passed on first reading, published according to law for further consideration and public hearing set down for November 30th, 2022.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Councilman Pointer. Madam Clerk, any council comments? A roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Coyle.
Yes. Okay, moving to the resolutions, I'm going to open for public. Yeah. Okay, we, just before the public comments are opened up, we pulled off 712, so 712 is not part of the resolutions. So we're opening up to public comments on the resolutions only. Councilmember Massaro?
Thank you, Council President. Tony Massaro, 86 Laurel Hollow Court. Mr. Renone, it's great to see you. It's been a long time.
You have the floor.
On the very last resolution listed, 739, how many liquor licenses do we have in the town currently?
Consumption that we're bidding,
Yeah,
we have 33, I believe.
and this is authorized to put out for bid, so I can't ask you what it's going to go for, but could you
Third
give
time
me,
we're going out to bid.
could you give me a ballpark as to what the licenses typically go for? Well, the
Well-
last ones, anyway.
You're talking the last one that we sold or
Both.
the transfers amongst
Either
people?
or.
The transfer amongst people, I don't think we don't track that. So when was the last license that was sold?
2014, and we sold it for $651.
That's consumption.
Correct.
Consumption.
And then the retail license is separate from that.
No, you mean distribution. This is a consumption that we're
There's
selling.
There's consumption licenses and then there's distribution
The
licenses.
distribution license, how much have they gone for?
The fours. I think the last one we sold in a distribution was like 415, if I'm not mistaken, in 2016. 16.
And it's just a general question. Can anyone tell me how much a tax point typically is in the budget right now?
Council President, it's approximately $720,000.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Mr. Diamond?
Bruce Diamond, 74 Calvert. This is for Esther Nemitz. She had asked about 732. I got to tell you, your discussion made no sense to me, and then when I pulled the book, this is really not 20,000. It was 20,000 last year and another 20,000 this year. So it's a total of 40, almost $43,000 for these two kitchens. I don't think I've heard enough of an explanation. I mean, if you're going to have a cafeteria area in the DPW garage, I certainly think that they're entitled to have, you know, a refrigerator and microwaves and stoves and blah, blah, blah. But $40,000 for something that you're replacing the counter, that means $39,000 is going to DPW. Are you going to say you'll get back with me?
I can provide you with the actual backup if you'd like.
Would you email it to Esther Nemitz?
Sure.
And I'm sure Cheryl has the address.
And Mr. Diamond, you're clarifying the 20 that they're spending today, but there was a past resolution you're also talking about.
It's just collectively, if you got one and a third or 1 and 10% kitchens, you've just spent most of that $40,000 in the DPW group. You say you're replacing a counter there, that's a couple $1,000s, assuming you do it in-house. And then you all say you don't even use the kitchen in there.
Madam Clerk, can we pull any of the kitchen work or counter work in DPW that we can provide to give to the BA, to give to Esther and to Mr. Diamond?
Yeah, it
If
just
it's a
doesn't make
previous one.
sense.
Council President, if I may, the one in particular that we did earlier this year, or previously that I can recall, was for the firehouse. We've had those on here before. So is it specific to DPW? Because it would typically fall under DPW in most cases because they do the in-house work. But I just wanted to make sure when I do go back that we're talking about the same thing.
I will tell you, it doesn't say, I mean, when you look at how if you look at how the resolution's written, I mean, I got to tell you, as a resident, when I read these resolutions, there's no information there. There's like secrets you're keeping from all of us. and you're hoping we don't read it and ask questions. You can't figure it out. Read the resolution. I'll bring you the book if you'd like. They can go on to the next person, and you can read this.
Madam Clerk,
Council President?
I mean, we have a, Mr. Diamond, we have a clarification we can read in the ordinance, just maybe of help right now.
I think what Esther's confusing, if you read the resolution, it's going to be 42,000 that we spent for with Builders General, with that vendor, not necessarily.
Not for an actual kitchen, correct. So that's why we have to go to council in order to get this resolution completed, because we've obviously gone above the pay-to-play.
Correct.
With Builders General, not necessarily for the kitchen.
It's the aggregate amount of money we've spent with Builders General over the course of the year, and that's why we have a resolution here.
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Diamond, you have to go back to the microphone. I apologize.
The resolution offers no explanation of what you're doing here, and you all know, and the BA knows, and the finance guy knows, but if we come to read something, we're entitled to understand what you're doing, and you can't determine that reading the resolution.
Council
And
President,
this
if I
is not
may?
unusual, the way the resolutions are written.
Mr. Diamond, the BA would like to just comment.
Sure. Part of the process is also that the backup paperwork provides a memo, and in the memo itself describes the actual, where this is going to go. Is the memo attached to the backup? Okay. I would suggest and recommend that for future purposes, that this memo from a department head would go attached along with the quote, because that would be very helpful to residents who look at this. It's part of the paperwork. It really, there's no.
And mind you, I'm not complaining that you just go out and spend $25,000, $30,000 for eating area for the DPW people. They're entitled to that.
Okay.
Everyone's entitled to a cafeteria.
And through the BA, we'll provide him the backup and send him an email.
To Esther, please.
We'll send it to Esther.
Not to me.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Diamond.
You're welcome.
Any comments on the resolutions only from the public? No. Okay, seeing none, can I have a motion to close the public portion on the resolutions?
Motion to close the public portion.
Resolutions only. Can I have a second?
Seconded.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any nays? Motion carries to close the public portion. Before I do a motion to adopt, I just want to do a clarification. Councilmember Harris and I had discussion on the Cultural Arts Committee, and we are doing interviews for this first round of interviews, and your applications must be received by December 2nd. However, we will continue to receive applications until we fulfill the 5 positions appointed by the council. That may happen in this first round, it may not. So I don't want to misunderstand anybody. December 2nd is a hard date for the first round, but there could be continuous rounds until we select 5 people that we feel will fit the criteria to move this committee forward. Fair enough? Okay. Council members, do we have any resolutions you'd like to pull? From my right, Councilmember Brescher.
732.
Anything else?
I have 725 and 712, but I think you pulled 712. Or do we need to vote to pull 712?
No,
We already pulled it. Yeah.
Okay.
So 732,
And 725 was the council schedule, and that was, right, we were
pulled that.
talking about that.
732.
Are we pulling the 725 for the next meeting?
we're going to hold that for a separate vote, and we're going to discuss that with
Okay.
the clerk. She's going to go through the calendar, and if Councilmember Harris is in agreement, we'll move forward on that, or at least there's some explanations.
In other words, are you going to pull it, I think the question is, are you going to pull it from tonight's agenda?
No. Right now, we're going to pull it for a separate vote to have a discussion, and if we decide to pull it, we can pull it at that time if the discussion doesn't go in the direction for Councilmember.
Councilmember Brescher's pulling 725 and 732 for separate vote.
Yes.
And everyone knows that 712 was removed from the agenda.
Correct.
Okay. So 732 is being pulled for a separate vote, and 725 for a separate vote. Fair enough. Any other comments for resolutions to be pulled from the agenda, council members? Did Mayor Brescher done? Councilmember Harris, anything from you?
Nope.
Councilmember Pointer?
None, sir.
Councilmember Patil?
731.
731.
Anything else, Councilmember Patil? Okay, Councilmember Patel?
None, sir.
Council Vice President George Freeman?
No.
Okay, and I have none. So, council members, Madam Clerk, we want to take a motion to approve the consent agenda without 731, 732, and 725. Can I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
Motion to adopt.
Councilmember Patil, can I have a second?
Second.
Councilmember Harris? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Coyle.
Yes. Councilmember Brescher, 732.
Yes. You know, I don't have a problem for a kitchen for the DPW. But I do have an issue with something for council chamber. I mean, I just don't believe we use it. I don't think past councils have used it. So to spend any money there, I'd rather have us get new chairs or, you know, like something of that nature. So I'm not inclined to, you know, vote for it unless that was amended. But I do support like DPW. So if we're going to do something in the future, if we could just break them out separately, I think I'd feel more comfortable.
Councilman Brescher, I think as much as I believe the council deserves, you know, a kitchen, but this is also for the several meetings that happen in council chambers, the technical review committee, and any other meetings that happen back there. So it's a full cleanup. So I just want to make you aware of that. And I do agree we need chairs.
Right. I mean, I've been back there twice, right? We've had two important meetings, and nobody uses it. We don't do any cooking. We're not getting, when I was on the Board of Ed, they used to have food, right? You went into the closed session, they have food. We have no food even when we go back there, so I just don't see a need for a kitchen, that's all.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman Brescher. Any other questions or comments on 730?
Council
732.
President? Council President?
Yes, Councilman.
In regards to the items for the council chambers, there's really nothing that, based on the elevations and the floor plans provided, that indicate really anything in regards to cooking. There's a sink, there's wall cabinets, there's space cabinets. I think that from a storage utilization standpoint, that they would be warranted back there. Speaking from personal experience, since I am on the interior remodeling side for my career, they're dealing with Fabiwood, which is a reputable company. The pricing is in line with everything that I'm accustomed to, so I'm inclined to be in favor of this. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments on 732? Can I have a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Councilman Patil, Councilman Patel. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Brescher.
No.
Councilmember Harris.
No.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Coyle.
Yes. Councilmember Patil, 731.
Council President, you know, for 731, as I said, like we are in the middle of November. Our financial year end will happen in another 1.5 months, and I don't think if this is going to be 2023, this should really come in the January meeting, the very first meeting, and I'll be more than happy to support. Okay. That's what I'm not supporting this.
Thank you,
Council President, if I may?
Yes, sure, please.
Just for clarification purposes, so it's a yearly bid that we put out, and it's a year to year. So once this would be adopted, we would be able to continue the services with Meridian. We went with the lowest bidder, and that's who won the bid. So just so for clarification purposes, this is for our pre-employment for all of our township employees fit for duty. So I just wanted to make sure that you all understand it's a year contract and it's effective once adopted.
Understood.
And depending on when the bid went out, it would mean we'd have to reprocure it again. So,
Correct. It went out in September. September 30th was the bid opening.
correct, and they're only required to hold their bid for a certain period of time, so if they're not going to hold their bid, we'd have to go out and reprocure it again, so it could end up being more money.
Right.
And it is a service that if we don't have a contract in place, it means that we wouldn't be able to hire employees. This also does fitness for duty, so.
Correct.
So reasonable suspicion drug testing and all of those things.
Correct.
Right, so that whole program would stop, including, I don't know if they do our CDLs also, but.
I understand.
Becomes a.
Yeah, I understand the zillion explanations here. My question was very specific. What is the effective date?
I can certainly get that number for you, but we do budget that every year through
Understood, but
operating budget.
I'm voting today, and if I don't know the effective date of this contract, I don't know what I'm voting for.
Well, it's for a year. If the effective date is December 1st, it would be from December 1st to November 30th.
Correct.
So it's timed, we timed it so that it's at the expiration of the last contract, so we don't have a gap in.
Correct.
It's an
And-
essential service that we need. So it's not an overlap.
Understood,
No.
and that's where my question is, if this is an essential service, it's like a blood in your body, why we are waiting till the last minute for this approval? This should have happened probably a month, 2 months ago. And that's what my question is, what is the effective date? If you tell me that it's January 1st, it's a different thing. If you tell me that this probably December 1st, I have a problem the way we operate here.
I guess I'm not understanding.
I-
it.
Yeah, no.
Councilmember Patil, what I see is it's in time. Could we do a better job, doing it a month earlier? I think people may agree with you, but it's in line with, if it's approved tonight, it'll be set to be prepared for December 1st.
Yep. No, that's my question was, if it is a December 1st, I need to know that it is a December 1st.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
It's for December 1st.
This on to be recorded, December 1st, and we are voting on 15th of November, or middle of the November. Thank you, Council President.
Okay.
Council President,
Yes.
may I ask you a question? Either the last meeting or the meeting prior, there was a bid that we rejected that was from Hackensack Meridian. Is this that same bid? Because they had missed information, so.
It was pulled, I believe, right?
Well, we had a resolution that was accepting the recommendation of not accepting a bid, and that's why I'm asking, is this the same as that? I'm just forgetting.
That was like 2 meetings ago, I believe.
Meetings ago, yeah. I think that could be different.
And my point with that is that might explain some of the time lapse as to when this is being put on now versus when we may have originally thought.
Thank you, Councilman Porter.
Councilman, in all fairness, my question is, let's be fair with the process. If there is something that needs to happen, that needs to happen, right? It shouldn't be another case like what happened with our senior center. We were in the emergency, we put on resolution, and then we say, hey, it's not an emergency. I see, the trend, and that's what I'm saying. Can we do better job next time? Sure. That's the reason I pulled this for the discussion. Thank you,
I
Council
apologize, Councilman. The only backup that there is basically a 2-sentence memo from the personnel department, but we'll get it from them tomorrow. I apologize that there wasn't more detail than that in this memo that you got. I thought that there was.
I did review that memo. It was not in detail, so I apologize for not providing that information to you, but certainly we'll provide that amount and the current contract year so that they're obviously less of a wonder, if you will.
Yep.
Thank you.
And Sonia, from what I'm hearing from Councilman Patil is, can we try to have this prepared in September next year?
Absolutely. We can certainly do that in the summer.
Okay. Have a motion to adopt 732.
Motion to adopt?
Have a second.
Second.
Madam Clerk, roll call.
Council President, you said 732. I think you mean 731.
731, I'm sorry, 731.
731.
Thank you, 7:31.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Coyle.
Yes. Okay, and
Now we're at 7:25.
Madam Clerk, this is a little more detail here. Councilmember Harris has questions on the dates that you're combining meetings. Do you want to go through this line by line before we go call for a vote?
February, there's two combines in
Can you
February.
use your microphone, please?
Two meetings in February because they're holidays. Right, February, I don't have my,
Where's the calendar?
let me look at the calendar.
What's the first February holiday?
I know one's Washington.
Right, that's the second, that would be the second one. I don't know what the first.
Christmas is December 25th. That's the December one.
The
No,
Feb-
there must be a different holiday. I
the
don't-
one for February 8th, what's going on?
That's President.
Right, no, but February 8th, what's going on February 6th?
Something must have been on one of the holiday calendars. I don't have it with me. I can go to my
Okay.
office and get the holiday calendar.
Okay.
I just know I was just saying, our school has a lot of holidays now. Okay, we're closed, we have different ethnic groups, we have more, holidays. We'll be in school to July soon.
And then,
Marlena, can you pull your calendar too as well, and we can verify where these
I have
dates?
to get my book.
yeah. Or can we just get more information about this and then put this on the next
Oh.
meeting?
As much as I'd like that, the fact is that it's important to get this onto the agenda. A lot of it, depending on the next council president.
Yeah, we can do it the next meeting if you like. And
We're
I'll
gonna
get
change
Okay,
reasons.
all right.
I mean,
Okay, fine.
but I cannot delay it past the next meeting because this holds up financing, cutoff dates and everything else, you
Yeah.
know?
Understood.
I don't wanna, but I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I'll get you the information, because I have, like I said,
Mm-hmm.
a calendar that has holidays on it, our holidays. I got the Jewish calendar for their holidays,
Okay.
you know.
A
and
point of
their
order.
calendar.
Can I have a point of order here?
Muslim holidays,
Yeah, there's a lot of holidays.
Can I have a point of order, please? We're going to table this to the next meeting through the clerk, Marlena, and the clerk will work on an email to Councilmember Harris and the council members discussing the purpose of combined meetings and what holidays cause conflict. Fair enough?
thank you.
Who's making the motion to table it?
Can I have a motion to table?
Motion to table.
I have Councilmember Harris and Councilmember Patil. Madam
Seconded.
Clerk, roll call. This,
Councilmember Brescher.
We're doing 7:25.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel. Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Freeman.
yes.
Council President Coyle.
Yes.
It's tabled till next meeting.
Yes.
Thank you. Oral petition remarks, we're open to the public. Do we have a list?
No, there was no list.
Mr. Diamond?
No, right, exactly.
Bruce Diamond, 74 Calvert. We had, the Greenway, Edison Greenways Group had the archaeological dig at Piscataway Town Burial Ground this weekend. It was pretty interesting. We had a professional group of diggers come in. They found some neat stuff. We've got a program coming up on, I think it's December 17th at 12:30 at the Edison Library, where we'll know the results of what we found, and it should be very interesting. Your Ben was there. He was filming on Saturday. I hope he enjoyed the time he spent there, and I hope it was worthwhile. We had over 50 people over the 2 days come for a tour of what was going on, and most of those faces were not faces that we normally see at cleanups or town events, so that was kind of nice. Thanks.
Thank you. Next. Ms. Conway?
Elizabeth Conway, 20 Netherwood Circle.
Oh. You're recognized. Well, you're recognized.
Thank you. Just two things. Number one, Inman Avenue looks really nice. I almost sent a picture to all of you. And to hear that it's going to stay that way, it was very impressive, and I'm happy about that. Number two, my tree has no leaves on it anymore when most trees are still losing. And I just wanted to get, she knows what I'm going to say, an update on if anything is going to be done, because if you're not, I guess I'm going to have to spend more money and just have the tree removed. And do I need a permit to remove a dead tree, or where would, I know I don't have to pay for the permit, but do I have to go through with that and get rid of it, because it's really not going to, it gets worse every year, so I'm not going to look at it for another year unless you want to actually look at it, because now there's no leaves on it.
Sonia,
We're talking
I
about
mean,
the
I know
ash
we
tree?
talk, is this a national problem with ash trees or just?
It is,
our neighbor-
the ash
Oh,
borer. Is it, well, one, if I can just get your address, one, and then two, I can have one of our engineering people in DPW go out and take a look at it and see exactly. Is it on your property or is it in the right way?
It's actually, you put it into my property.
Okay. Well, we'll have to go out and take a look at it.
It's probably in the right of way.
It was one of those, when the development was built, it went in the 7 feet. The first one died, and then you gave me the ash, which looks really sad. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving. Any other comments from the public? Raise your hand. Yes, please come up.
Off the record, anyone has a Honda SUV in the, anyone has a Honda, what is it, license? I think it's law 70 something, your interior lights are on. Anyone has like whoever is in the parking lot, in the handicap, your interior lights are on, off record. Honda SUV. Someone's not gonna, if you start the car up, it's gonna die.
Well, thank you.
Right. I have no other comments.
Yep. Any other public comments? Yes, Ms. Tar?
Just a comment on ordinance 2164 about the opening of the road and with the gate. Something seemed to get lost in the discussion between left turns, right turns, parking permits, and people not being happy. And what seemed to get lost was the fact that Sergeant Semino said that opening of the gate would allow emergency vehicles to get to the school more rapidly during those times. If it means the safety of our kids versus whether somebody can make a left turn or a right turn, I think maybe we ought to take the safety of the kids into consideration first. That's all.
Thank you, Ms. Tar. Any questions or comments from the public? Hearing none, can I have a motion to close the public portion?
Motion to close the public portion.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Just before I adjourn the meeting, I just wanted to, in points of light, I don't know how I missed it, but Edison High School, as some of us know, does anybody want to make a comment before I make a comment? That they won their division championship, which is remarkable. I don't think it's been done since 1991, from what I hear. I had a chance to be there. It was a terrible rainy beginning. It was just a terrible night, but they got through it. I think it's just amazing, and I want to thank all the parents, all the coaches, and everybody involved in getting students to become athletes. And also thank the cheerleaders for staying out there and bearing this weather to keep them going. Any comments from council members?
Council President?
Yes.
I think this is a wonderful news. I would say the news of the year, that what Edison High did. I think this council should recognize their hard work, their effort, and put the Edison Township on in the news, in the good news. We should recognize them by giving the proclamation.
Yes. Next meeting, the Madam Clerk is going to
Thank you.
help prepare, and I believe the mayor is doing proclamation as well, I would hope. Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Council President?
I'm sorry, yes, I'm sorry, Council.
Sorry, it would be, behoove me to at least mention, I believe the marching bands also had some success over the past couple of weeks, so shout out to the marching bands.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
All right.
And you can't
very
forget the
impressive.
Jets.
And the Jets.
The Jets. But we're
Jets.
very impressed with Edison
And
High
cheer
School
had some
also.
success too. I'm not prepared. Next meeting, let's definitely go through all this and get a chance if we can recognize them as well. We'll put some on this next agenda and the following one before we close the year out. Any other comments from council members? Okay, hearing none, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Councilor Teal, can I have a second?
Second.
Councilman Porter, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any nays? Motion carries to adjourn the meeting.